Hey everyone, welcome to our channel Physics where we actually learn physics. So in today's lecture, we are actually gonna discuss a very interesting concept called as the gravitational force. Basically, you all must have already heard about this concept. You already must be having a little bit of idea about what gravitational force is, what is gravity. Okay. So in this lecture what we are going to do is we are going to discuss the gravitational force and the concept of gravity in details. Okay, how it was actually discovered, at the same time who discovered it, what was the problems at that time, and how this theory actually helped to solve lots of questions, etc, etc, some equations maybe, okay, some diagrams, etc, lots of things, some examples definitely. Okay, we are gonna see each and every aspect of this theory called as the theory of gravity or the gravitational force. Okay, so let's start with today's lecture on the gravitational force. Okay, so first of all, before actually going into this, I would like to just give you some examples. Basically, in your daily life, you see lots of objects fall down, isn't it? You might have definitely seen lots of things fall down. For example, this pen right now in my hand, it falls down when you just leave it there, isn't it? Or you must have seen lots of fruits fall down, any tree of that fruit, okay, like apple falls down, mango falls down, or coconut, etc, etc, many examples that you can see. Or maybe some stone, okay, that is just left from some building or some mountain or anywhere. Okay, so you must have seen lots of objects falling down, isn't it? At your home, outside, everywhere. This almost happens to us each and every time, isn't it? There is not a single time that we don't see the objects falling, isn't it? And this is really a very, a case which we actually ignore, isn't it? We don't really care about this phenomenon, the falling object. We just see this, okay, and we don't care. We don't even question why and how does this happen. We just say, yeah, let it be. This is how it goes. This is how it happens. In fact, we don't even say that this is how it happens. We don't even care, isn't it? But there were few people, there were few scientists, okay, who actually cared about this problem. They really had a curiosity to understand how exactly these objects fall down, isn't it? And definitely, when you talk about the theory of gravity, only one name pops up in your head, and that name is none other than the Isaac Newton, isn't it? Definitely, when you heard this name, first name that comes in your mind is none other than Isaac Newton, because he is considered as the father of this theory, because he was the one who coined this term. He was the one who gave us the theory of gravity. Okay, so the theory goes like this, or the history goes like this, that one day he was just sitting beneath a tree, apple tree basically, and he saw one apple falling down. And from that falling apple, he got some questions like, how does this actually happen? Why did this apple just fell down? Why did it not go up? In fact, why do all objects fall down? Why don't any object come down? Sorry, come up. Okay, why don't any object which is thrown up, it just moves up? Why does it come down every time? Isn't it? So these many questions he actually had. He actually cared about this problem a lot. Okay, which we really ignore actually. but he really had a curiosity, because definitely he was a genius. Okay, at that time he had a really brilliant mind. Okay, and his mathematical skills were absolutely brilliant. Okay, so what he did is he actually worked on this, and he did some research. Okay, and he did some mathematical work. Okay, and after doing all his work, he came out with a new theory called as the theory of gravity. And this theory of gravity, believe me, it just revolutionized the way we think about the universe now. It just changed everything. This theory of gravity just changed everything. Now if you see, everything in our universe is governed by the theory of gravity itself, which by then was ignored by everyone. But it was Newton who actually questioned, he actually did work, he actually had that curiosity, and he actually came up with this brilliant theory of gravity. And from where everything changed. Now we have this theory of gravity which actually gives us answers to lots of our questions. It solves lots of the mysteries in the universe. Okay, so you can see how important the theory of gravity is actually. Okay, so now we are actually going to understand what this theory of gravity is saying, what is this gravitational force, and what actually Newton did over here, what laws he gave actually. Okay, so first of all, we are actually going to see what is the law given by Newton regarding gravity. Okay, so this is called as the universal law of gravity. Okay, this is called as the universal law of gravity. So in his universal law of gravity, or we can say in his theory of gravity, Newton says that every object in the universe, okay, every object in the universe attracts every other object in the universe with some force. Okay, every object in the universe attracts every other object in the universe with some force, and this force is called as the gravitational force. Okay, so what he's saying here is, if you have any object here and if you have any other object here, so these two objects actually attract each other with some force, and this force of attraction between them is nothing but the gravitational force. Okay, over here he is also trying to say that the force arises by virtue of their masses only. Okay, the force arises because of the masses of those bodies only. If there is no mass, there will be no gravitational force. The gravitational force is actually dependent on the masses. Okay, it is actually dependent on the masses. Okay, so again we will just revise this definition. The theory of gravity says that every object, okay, every object in the universe attracts every other object in the universe by virtue of its mass, okay, with some force, and this force is called as the gravitational force or the force of gravity. Okay, so now Newton actually gave one law known as the universal law of gravitation. Okay, and in this law actually he described the gravitational force as a function of masses of the two bodies and the distance of separation between the two bodies. Okay, so what he did here is, in his law he actually described the force of attraction between the two bodies in terms of the masses of the two bodies and the distance of separation between the two bodies. Okay, so let's see what he is trying to say over here. So suppose, let's say we have two bodies. Let's say we have two bodies. One is having a mass m1, and let's say we have another body with some mass m2. Okay, let's say the two bodies are separated by some distance r. Okay, let's say they are separated by some distance r. Okay, and let's say this is the axis or the line joining the two bodies. Okay, yeah, definitely it's imaginary line. Okay, it's not a thread or any rod or something. It's just an imaginary line that I have drawn for some reasons. Okay, so we have two bodies with some masses m1 and m2. They are separated by a distance r. Now, the universal law of gravitation states that the gravitational force of attraction, okay, the gravitational force of attraction between masses m1 and m2, okay, between two bodies with masses m1 and m2 separated by a distance r is directly proportional to the masses of the two bodies. Okay, the force of attraction is directly proportional to the masses of the two bodies. So we can write here masses of the two bodies, and the force is also inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Okay, so it is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So right now the distances are between them and the masses are m1 and m2. So the force is directly proportional to the masses of the two bodies, and the force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Okay, so this is what the universal law of gravitation actually says. Okay, so we can write this as F is equal to, okay, see, we can remove this proportionality by putting some proportionality constant, and we write this as capital G for gravitation over here. You can see, okay, then it is m1 m2 as it is divided by r squared. Okay, so this becomes the equation that describes the universal law of gravitation. Okay, so you can just highlight this. This is a very important equation here. Okay, over here the distance r that you see, okay, remember this, the distances are always measured from the centers of the two bodies. Okay, centers always measured from the centers of the two bodies, and the g that you see here, okay, this g is called as universal constant of gravity. Okay, this is called as universal constant of gravity, and it has some value. Okay, g is equal to 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter squared per kg squared. Okay, Newton meter squared per kg squared. That's the value for this g. Basically, this universal constant of gravity was not really found out by Newton. The value was not found by Newton. It was found by one other scientist. His name was Cavendish. Okay, his name was Cavendish. Okay, so he actually found this almost after 100 years after the discovery of this law. Okay, so that is how it goes actually. Okay, but now we know this value. Now one thing you can notice here, that this value is very small, isn't it? It's 10 raised to minus 11. You can imagine how small this value is. 10 raised to minus 11. You can imagine 0.0000 10 zeros and then 1. That's very small value, isn't it? So from this value itself, you can see that the force of gravity or the force of attraction between the two bodies is actually very small, isn't it? The force of gravity is actually very small. You can work out, for example, let's say we have these two bodies. Let's say the masses are like normal human beings. Let's say 70 kg and M2 is 70 kg. Okay, and let's say they are separated by a distance of 1 meters, for example. Okay, simplicity. So from this we can say the force of attraction is here. G is this. Okay, 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 into M1 M2. So M1 M2 is here 70 into 70 divided by the distance squared. Distance is 1, so it's just 1 squared. 1 squared is just 1, as you all know. Okay, now you can just calculate this. So this F would be equal to, okay, we can calculate this. I will use my calculator from here. Okay, so that it's very quick. 6.67 into 70 into 70. Okay, so it is 32683 into 10 raised to minus 11. Okay, this just goes, this is just 1. Okay, we can just convert this. F would be equal to 3.26 into 10 raised to minus 7. Okay, so this force is so small, you can see. You can see how small this force is. 3.26 into 10 raised to minus 7. You can imagine how small it is, isn't it? So a 70 kg person is attracting another 70 kg person with a very small force. So that's you can say, in fact, just ignorable. We can't even think about that force, isn't it? I am, for example, 70 kg, some other guy is attracting me, okay, because of this force of gravity, but I won't even feel it, isn't it? Because it's really very small. And our normal human beings are about 70 to 80 kg, and they might be getting attracted by different people because of this gravitational force, but they won't even feel it. Why? Because the force of gravity is very small. Okay, so this is what the force of gravity actually is. Okay, now this universal law of gravitation is of a huge importance to all of us. It explains lots of things. It solves lots of questions actually about this universe, about the natural phenomenons in the universe. Like, for example, it explains how the stars, how the galaxies in the universe are actually formed. Okay, how they are formed. That question can be answered with the help of this theory of gravity. Then it also explains how all the planets in our solar system revolve around the sun, how the moon revolves around earth, then how low tides and high tides come in on our earth because of the moon. Okay, that question can also be answered. Then it also gives us some equations to play with, or equations to work out with, related to artificial satellites. Okay, it gives us some explanation or some theories how to launch those artificial satellites, how to make them revolve at a certain heights, and etc related to artificial satellites. So this science of artificial satellites, okay, works on the theory of gravity. You know, we all the countries are nowadays launching all these artificial satellites, but they all use the theory of gravity itself for the launching and the motion of those artificial satellites. So you can see how important this theory is. In fact, the theory also explains how we are able to walk, how we are able to stand over here on this earth surface. Why don't we just fly away? Why are we just standing here? Okay, how all these objects fall down. okay, etc. So you can see how important this theory is. Okay, so this is a immensely huge, immensely important theory called as the theory of gravity. Okay, and the gravitational force is very, very, very fundamental. Okay, very, very, very important to the understanding of the universe and its phenomenons. Okay, so this is the gravitational force. Let's just define it again. Okay, let's just revise it. So the gravitational force is nothing but the force of attraction between two bodies by virtue of their masses. Okay, the gravitational force is what? Nothing but the force of attraction between two bodies by virtue of their masses. So that's gravitational force for us. Now what we are going to do is we are going to talk about the force exerted by Earth on all of us. Okay, force exerted by Earth on all of us, like our body or all other objects over here in your room. Okay, see, the Earth exerts forces. Okay, so now we are going to discuss how exactly all those things happen. Okay, so I will just clean this up. Okay, so now we are going to see the force exerted by Earth on small objects on its surface. Okay, for example, the force exerted on me, the force exerted on my fridge, my showcase over here, or any other, like books are over here. Okay, so the force exerted by Earth on any of the object placed on the surface of the Earth or near the surface of the Earth. Okay, so not exactly it should be placed on the Earth, it may be near the surface of the Earth. Okay, so let's try to find out what is this force, okay, and what is it called actually. Okay, so to understand this, first of all, let us imagine that Earth is itself one object. For example, let's assume that Earth is itself one object. Okay, so here is, let's say, the Earth. For example, this is the Earth. Okay, now Earth must be having some center. It is almost spherical, as we all know. Okay, so let's say RE is the radius of the Earth. Okay, RE is the radius of the Earth. Okay, let's say we have some small object over here on the surface of this Earth. Okay, we have a small object. Let's say the mass of this object is m. Now definitely the size of the object is very small in comparison to the size of the Earth. Mass of the object is also very small in comparison to the mass of the Earth. Now if I go precisely, the mass of the Earth, okay, is about 6 into 10 raised to 24 kgs. Okay, 6 into 10 raised to 24 kg, and the radius of the Earth is about 6400 kilometers. Okay, 6400 about. Okay, it's not exact numbers but nearly close numbers. Okay, so this is radius and this is mass. Now whatever object you are considering over here on the surface, that is definitely very small. Imagine this mass and imagine our mass. It's 24, 10 raised to 24, and my weight, my mass right now is about 90 kgs. So you can imagine how small my mass is in comparison to this mass. In fact, this radius is too big, isn't it? That means the size of the Earth is too big in comparison to our size. What is our size? Just 5 feet, 6 feet. Like I am 6 feet. So you can imagine, where am I and where is this size? Okay, so you can imagine the difference. Okay, so let's say Earth is one object and this is another object. Now according to the theory of gravity, every object attracts every other object, isn't it? With some force called as the force of gravity, and the equation is here. This is the force of attraction between the two bodies. Okay, now here is Earth, one object. Here is the small object Okay, object 2. So these are the two objects right now, isn't it? So don't you think here that these two objects are also attracting each other with this much force, isn't it? Definitely they must be attracting, like the earth is attracting the mass towards itself and the mass is attracting the earth towards itself, because the theory of gravity says that every object attracts every other object towards itself. So over here also the same thing might be happening, isn't it? Isn't it? So yes, definitely this is what happens. This object right here is attracting the earth towards itself and the earth is also attracting this objects towards itself. Like I am attracting the earth towards myself, you are attracting the earth towards yourself, and the earth is also attracting you or me towards itself. Okay, so that is nothing but the theory of gravity at work. Okay, it's brilliant. It's Newton, by the way. Okay, so these two are attracting with some force. Okay, so how much is the force over here? Okay, so we can calculate. Okay, over here the force of attraction between the two bodies over here would be nothing but G. Okay, as we know it is proportional to the masses. So right now the masses are nothing but mass of the earth and the mass of that particular object. Okay, and divided by the distance of separation. So right now the distance of separation is how much? Nothing but the radius of the earth, isn't it? As I just said, the distances are measured from the centers of the two bodies. So over here this is the center, and from the center this much is the distance, and that is nothing but the radius of the earth itself. Okay, yeah, I would also have some center somewhere. Okay, every object would have some center, but this distance is way too small in comparison to the radius of the earth. Look at this number, and if you measure from my center, okay, that would be unimaginably small, like 3 feet or something. Okay, and where is this? So we can just ignore that and we can just say that the distance of separation between them is radius of the earth itself. Okay, so you can just write here r e squared because it's squared over here. Okay, so that is the force of attraction between the earth and any object of mass m near the surface of the earth. Okay, this is what the force of attraction between the earth and any object on the surface of the earth or near the surface of the earth. Okay, so over here you can see one thing, that this number and this number, they are all constant, isn't it? What remains is this. This is a mass for any object on the earth, like my mass, your mass, the book mass, okay, the fridge mass, okay, or any other object, the stones, okay, any object's mass. So this mass is a variable. This can vary for different objects, but these numbers are definitely constant, isn't it? This G is universal constant. It is same everywhere in the universe. ME, mass of the earth, constant. RE, radius of the earth, constant. But this is variable. So that's why I would write this equation in other form. I would say here F is equal to G ME upon RE squared, okay, in brackets, into M separately. Okay, so this is all a constant. Okay, or we can just say this is F is equal to M times same term G ME upon RE squared. Okay, so now from the Newton's second law of motion, we all know that force is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, force is equal to mass into acceleration. So For example, this is the same mass that we have over here. Okay, so if we compare these two equations over here, we can see there is this term, this mass, and this acceleration, and this whole bracket, isn't it? That means acceleration is nothing but this term over here, isn't it? That means I can write acceleration is equal to g me upon re squared. Okay, re squared. So you can say here that this is nothing but the acceleration of the mass m, okay, acceleration of the mass m due to the Earth's gravitational force, okay, due to the Earth's gravitational force. So in a simple way, we can say Earth accelerates every object near the surface with this much value. Okay, so that's why this is called as acceleration due to gravity. Okay, this is also called as the acceleration due to gravity. So we denote this acceleration due to gravity by small g. Okay, small g, and it is same gme, okay, divided by re squared. Okay, this is acceleration due to gravity. Okay, simply the value of this term is actually 9.8 meters per second squared. 9.8 meters per second squared. That is the actual value of g. Yeah, basically this value over here is not really constant. Yeah, it's constant, but on the surface of the Earth, if we go at different places, the value varies a little, okay, not much, but little. Okay, why this happens is because over here we have considered re as a constant. That means we have considered Earth as a perfect sphere, but Earth is actually not perfectly spherical. Okay, we know it's a little bit oval actually. Okay, so that means the radius of the Earth at different places is little bit different. Okay, little bit different. So that's why this g varies a little at different places. In fact, the value of g is different on different planets also. Okay, it is different on different planets also. Why? Definitely because you can see this g depends on three factors. See, this capital G is constant, but this mass and the radius of any planet is different. That is why the value of acceleration due to gravity for different planet is different, and that is the reason why the weight, okay, of any person on that planet is different. Like when we go to moon, we don't feel that much heavier as we feel over here. Okay, because the value of g is a little bit different. Okay, so we can see here that the gravitational force accelerates any body with this much acceleration. Okay, and simply now we can write, okay, simply now we can write force is equal to m times small g, because this term is nothing but small g. So we can just write here F is equal to m into g. Okay, that is the simplest equation, okay, to remember now. Okay, this is the gravitational force on mass m. Simply, okay, just put the value of m, you know the g, that's it, you get the value. Okay, that is the force. Okay, so this is the gravitational force. Now there is a name actually given to this term. Okay, the gravitational force on any mass. Okay, there is a name called as the weight. Okay, we call this force as weight. Okay, the gravitational force exerted by Earth on any object. Okay, the gravitational force exerted by Earth on any object is called as the weight of that object. Okay, What is weight? Weight is nothing but the gravitational force exerted by the earth, okay, on any object. Okay, so that's why we can also write weight is equal to m into g. Okay, so weight of any object is equal to m into g. That's it. Mass into this acceleration due to gravity. Okay, so you can see one difference, that weight and mass are different actually. Okay, in general language we say my weight is 60 kg, my weight is 80 kg, something like that. But it's not actually the weight that you are telling, it's actually the mass that you are telling. Okay, whenever you stand on any weighing scale, okay, like you stand on a weighing scale in some clinic or maybe in gym, okay, that machine actually shows you the mass, not the weight. Okay, weight is this, m times g. Suppose your mass is, let's say 60 kg, okay, so your weight would be equal to 60 times 9.8. that would be your weight. Now you can calculate that. Yeah, again, for many purposes, in many cases, for solving the numericals, we don't really take this value of g as 9.8. We sometimes take it as 10. Okay, so it's really simple. Okay, so sometimes we take it as 10, just we round it off. Okay, but yeah, for accuracy you have to take it as 9.8. But if it is specified in some example that take it as 10, then take it as 10. Okay, otherwise take it as 9.8. Okay, so that is the weight. Okay, this is how you calculate weight. So you understand the difference between weight and the mass. Okay, so it's really different. So in this way we have discussed what is a gravitational force and how important this concept is, how important this gravitational force is actually. Okay, we have just discussed all these things. Okay, first of all we talked about how exactly Newton discovered this. Okay, what exactly happened, then what is the universal law of gravitation we saw here. Okay, then we talked about how important it is, what are the implications of this law, what are the different mysteries that were solved by this theory actually. Okay, and then we talked about the force exerted by earth on small objects on its surface. Okay, and that is nothing but it is called as the weight actually. Okay, so we have discussed all these things. Okay, but we have not discussed a main reason actually, I mean the main thing that should be discussed over here. See, over here you see the gravitational law, universal law here. Okay, you understood this equation, that is very good, but you again did not question why did Newton put here r squared. Okay, why did he not put r, isn't it? Definitely it should depend on the distance. The more far you go, small should be the force. That is okay, that is fine. Okay, then why not r and why r squared, isn't it? That is the question. So yeah, there was answer to this question also. Okay, he had worked on this actually. He actually had used the data regarding the moon's revolution. Okay, he actually studied the revolution of the moon around the earth. Okay, and using the data that was available at that time for the moon, like moon requires about 27.3 days to complete one revolution. Okay, then its radius of orbit is about 8 point something into 10 raised to 8 meters. Okay, so you can see he had some data, he worked on all those data, and from all those calculations he came up with this r squared actually. Okay, if he put here only r, the calculations did not match actually. Okay, so r squared actually matched with all his assumptions and all his calculations. Okay, exactly matched actually. Okay, so we'll discuss that actually in some later chapters. specifically in the chapter gravitation, we will actually discuss how Newton calculated all those things. Okay, but for right now, I'm just telling you how exactly he did it. Okay, he used the moon's revolution, okay, and calculated some things. Okay, because see, whenever you put any theory in front of the universe, it should be backed up with experimental proofs. Okay, otherwise your theory won't be accepted anywhere. So yes, he had to give some explanation. So yes, he gave that explanation with the help of moon's revolution, and yes, he was right. And here we are, we have the theory of gravity, which just changed everything, changed the way we think about this universe now. Okay, imagine that small falling object, the apple, it changed the world forever because of only and only Newton. Okay, so we should say thanks to Newton actually, that he came up with these ideas. Okay, because of him only we now have all these satellites. Okay, satellites which are revolving right now because of the theory of gravity only. Otherwise it would have been really difficult. Yeah, maybe someone would have, maybe he would have worked on this, but we don't know really. But if you see, uh, all all the other theories, lots of other theories are actually dependent on this theory. Okay, so that's why this theory is hugely important, and it was very important that he discovered this. Okay, so it's really a genius guy. Okay, he actually has discovered lots of things that you already know, but this was one of his genius theories. Okay, so that's it for today. That's it from this lecture. Okay, hope you have enjoyed this, hope you have liked this. Okay, so I would stop here, but we will meet next time with some other topic. Basically we are actually talking about the fundamental forces of nature. So this is one. In the next video we will talk about the electromagnetic force. Okay, and maybe after that nuclear force, and after that weak nuclear force. Okay, so all these things are coming up, so just stay tuned. Okay, and please watch videos, please learn physics. It's really interesting, it's really important for understanding life, understanding nature. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. Okay, have a nice day. Bye bye.